Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the channel, Jesse's Occupational Awareness Show. I'm your host, as always, Jesse, and we're going to be continuing on with our series, Good Inmates Gone Bad. Now, in response to the last two videos I did about escapee Gonzaga Lopez and the situations that occurred, I received both a lot of positive and negative feedback from viewers. Some of the comments were a little bit harsh. They weren't YouTube viewable, so they go into the other kind of filter that we have on there. I got bashed a lot by a lot of individuals for doing the video that I did. And the reason that I did it was a lot of my viewers here, they don't watch the news, or they're so far spread out from Texas, they're not able to see it. Of course, the ones around the area, they can watch the news and see what's going on. So I wanted to present the facts as best I could, not interject opinions on the situation that did occur, and just get the information out about how dangerous it is for an escapee. People are like, oh, just let the prisoners out, let them go. Well, this is a prime example of what happens when one individual who was an very extremely dangerous individual does get out, and what can happen to society, and how important the job of corrections officers are. Now, we're forever going to get beat up and bashed by everybody. Hey, that's just the job, man. You got to get you a tough skin to get in corrections, and you got to get you a tough skin when you venture into the YouTube world and start doing videos like this. So, I'm not going to do any more videos on it. There's been a lot more insight about what went on with the incident. If you're curious about it, you can educate yourselves. I'm not going to say any more on the topic. Just God rest the souls of the individuals that were involved in it. What we are going to get into is the new series that I started talking about a couple of videos ago, Good Inmates Gone Bad. These stories are going to talk about when I had relatively positive encounters with inmates and it just absolutely went to garbage. Just absolute shit. Sometimes it was done by me, sometimes it was done by the partner officer that I was working with. In this particular situation, I was working in Charlie Pod. Charlie Pod wasn't really a bad pod, okay? I never had a whole lot of problems in there. You had your problem children everywhere that you could go. Maybe it's prison, okay? But when you heard Officer Carter, C-Pod, you knew it wasn't going to be a bad day. All right, I didn't go in with my guard down, but it wasn't like Officer Carter, Delta. And I just get a little nod, and you could hear the chuckles back there because of all the bad blood that I had going on in that pod. So Charlie Pod wasn't bad. The problem was I had been assigned with this little dickbag officer, and he was just a total shit. Okay, everybody hated this dude. Short little black guy, probably 21, maybe 22 years old. Slick ass bald head. He'd take his hat off, rub that head, put that hat back on. He'd do it, I don't know, kind of like a catchphrase or so. Just miserable. He couldn't get assigned to E or F pod because they probably would have killed him if any of them got the chance to. He couldn't work Gen Pop. The only reason he was there was because TDC just needs bodies to work the tiers. And unfortunately, he was typically assigned with me because I had the patience of Job, the biblical Job, and I wouldn't go off on him like most of the older officers could. So it was tough working with this dude. So on this particular day, we're working Charlie Pod together. All right. The two inmates in question, I don't remember their names. I remember what they look like. Both of them really tall, white dudes, both from the Aryan Brotherhood of Texas. That's why they were in SEG. Covered in tats. Just tats all down the face, arms. I mean, you almost couldn't see the skin of the guys. They were so covered in tats. One was tall and skinny. The other one, he was pretty stocky. You could tell that he worked out a lot. There were different levels of classification with inmates. You had level 1, 2, and 3. Level ones could be housed with other individuals. They couldn't be in the same cells, but if you put a level one in the day room, you could put another level one in the day room with them. Okay? Level twos and level threes, they had to be housed individually. It was good when you had a bunch of level ones because you could put one in the day room, put another one in the same day room, and you could use the same day room with more inmates. So you got more inmates out of their cells and in the day room, get the clock ticking, meant we could take more frequent breaks. These guys like to be housed together. Okay, one of the best times that they would have was when they could go to the outside rec and they had the basketball, they could bounce around, play a little basketball. So on this particular day, these two individuals, they got to go to their outside rec. All right, so we pulled them out of the cells. The first one that I talked about, his buddy, he always called him psych patient. I never had a positive encounter with him. I never had a negative one. He never jacked the slot. He never banged on the door. He never even talked to me. You moved him around, you put him, he did his thing. He just didn't interact with the officers. This other guy, he'd interact all day. He'd yell, holler, but it was usually not negative yelling, just a guy being loud, boisterous. He always seemed relatively upbeat. He never threw his food back at me. He never jacked the slot. I never had problems taking him out, putting him in the cell. Sometimes he wouldn't even go to rec. If he didn't go to rec, his buddy didn't go to rec. That's two dudes I didn't have to move around. All right, no problems. So I never let my guard down around the guy, but I didn't have any problems out of the two of them. All right. On this particular day, the mood was relatively high because they knew the commissary was coming in. Commissary would come in and be this fat, lazy, sweaty ass CO who would come in and she'd have her trustees and they'd push a cart. And it would be in the red onion sack that I talked about in a couple of other videos ago. It'd have their items in it. They couldn't just hand it to them, check it off, and go. They had to take the items, pass it through the slot, read off the inventory list, and go from there. The only good thing about commissary, that bitch had her own bean tool. I didn't have to stand there with her. She was a CO. She wasn't like the other individuals that came in. She could do her own thing. She could pop the slots and start passing the items and go from there. So I didn't have to trail after the commissary boss. All right. So the mood was pretty high that commissary was coming through. So we got the guys out. They're doing their basketball thing. Cool. They're playing on the outside. It's getting pretty close to the end of shift. And she comes in. Fuck. Normally, you couldn't end the shift if you had, we called them day workers. The ones that would come in, do their thing, and leave. They weren't on shift. Normally, you couldn't end the shift if you had one of the day workers still running around. Pill nurse, law library, chaplain. If the other officers came in, you were supposed to finish off everything on your shift and go from there. So we're supposed to get off at 6, and the chaplain decides he wants to hang out. Nothing against you, chaps. Chaplain decides he wants to hang out till 8 o'clock. Our fucking asses were there till 8 o'clock. I don't know if it's still like that, but I remember doing that more than once, and it was miserable. So she comes in late. She gets ready to pass out her stuff, and they're going through. And the whole pod is it's like a concert. Okay, guys are beating, banging, hollering, monkeys hanging on bars, just shaking doors. They're all ready to get their stuff. And in reality, there was probably only about 8 dudes that were actually going to get stuff. Because most of them had been back in there so long, they didn't have any real world currency. So these guys would get the stuff and they'd spread it around to everybody. So everybody's excited. Okay. Herein comes the problem. These two guys, they need their commissary. Both of them had it. Don't know how they had currency. They need their commissary. They're outside in the day room. Okay. The lady gets to the door and she starts yelling at me. Hey, boss man. Hey, I need him in here. I don't remember what I was doing. I might have been taking a guy out to take him to the shower or some odd. And I just remember yelling back, hey, throw it in his cell. Hey, I can't do that. Hey, Raymond's going to hear about this. She's about to snitch on me. Okay. What the situation was, they couldn't open the slot, dump the bag stuff in there, and just move on from there. That would have been too easy. Okay, TDC just can't be that easy. What she wanted me to do, she wanted me to go get the guys out of the day rooms. They still had time left. She wanted me to go get them out of the day room, put them in the cells so they could get their stuff and go from there. I bent to her request. Should have just ignored it, should have kept going on. So me and this guy that I'm working with, we go get psych patient first. We had to tell him, hey, bang on the door. Hey, man, your commissary's here. They need you in the cell for it. Hey, we still got time on rec, man. Hey, we still got rec time. Okay, I got that. If you want your commissary, you got to come out. All right, a couple more words exchanged. Now, positive interactions I had with these guys, they were starting to get not so positive. All right, I don't know why they were agitated. So I get the guys out. To make it fast, they stuck their hands through, and I cuffed them in the front. We were never supposed to cuff in the front, always cuff in the back. It was easier to cuff in the front. We could move around from there a little bit quicker. All right. So I cuff him in the front, take him to his cell, shut the door. She starts passing his commissary to him. I go get the other guy. The other guy's like, hey, come on, Boss Carter. Come on, man. Hey, I know we got that time going. Look, hey, when you put me in a cell, man, hey, you don't even have to take the cuffs off, man. Just leave them on. Let me get my stuff. We can get back in there. We keep playing with that game, man. I about got him up on 2-3 points, man. Talking so fast I couldn't even understand the dude. So I put the cuffs on him, take him to his cell, shut the door. Cool. By the time I get done, I leave the cuffs on him. I shouldn't have done that. Okay. So he didn't have a whole lot of stuff. He had man, if they had 3 ramen soups coming to him, man, that's like gold. So she passes the items to him. All right, cool. We're ready to take him out of the cells. Dude's like, the CO that I'm working with, he's like, hey, man, hey, we ain't even gonna pull them out, man. They already got their time. We're moving on. And I said, they still got time left. He says, I ain't pulling them out. I'm not doing it. Goes to the door, starts talking to the guy. I don't know what he said to him, but I know he was talking him into sticking his hands out so we could get the cuffs. Okay, we only had one set of cuffs. We couldn't move on without them. We had to get those back. What should have happened was we should have put the guy in the cell with the cuffs on. They were going to pass his commissary to him. Cool. He was going to stick his hands back out. We were going to redo the process, search his clothes and everything, take him back out the door, put him back in the day room. He'd continue his game. That didn't happen. All right. What did end up happening, I don't know what lies he told him, but dude stuck his hands out and he starts taking the cuffs off and he shuts the slot. He had said we had to go do something. We were going to come back and take him out of the cell. All right. What actually ended up happening after he got the cuffs, throws him on his finger, gotcha, and starts walking off. And I look at him walking off, and I looked at the door, and dude looks me in the eyes. Hey, Boss Carter, hey, you gonna put me back in the day room, right, man? Hey, man, we still got time left, man. At this point, his partner knows what's going on, and he's already banging on the door. And I'm looking at the door, and I went, hey, man, I can't take you out, man. I got to move on. We got the inmates to move. And here comes Silverback Gorilla. Both hands up against the door. Hey, man, that's some hoe-ass motherfucking bullshit, man. You fucking lied to me, man. You said you was going to take me out of... Picks up a soup. Throws it. This fucking bullshit's what caused me to be there. Man, just going off. And the guy in the other cell sitting there, he starts going off as well. Now, I'm the bad guy. Here's what happened. He lied to the dude. He told him he was going to do something. He didn't do him. Your credibility is gone at that point. You never get it back. If you tell an inmate you're going to do something, this was the problem making deals with inmates. Tell them you're going to do something, didn't. If you said, I'm going to do something for you, and you didn't do it, you were done. They'd hate you from the day that you left, and probably still to this day. So if you tell an inmate you're going to do something, you better fucking do it. Otherwise, no. The answer is always no. All right? So even though I didn't tell the inmate we were going to take him back out, because I had my partner with me, we may as well have been one and the same. And this guy is just destroying the door, kicking, yelling, hollering. By this point, all the other inmates are going. And I remember looking back behind me over the tier, and there's the partner I was working with standing there by the picket, just leaned up against the wall. All right. Go down the tier, go down the steps, come down, come up to him. Hey, man. Hey, you see what's going on in here, man? Hey, yeah, fuck them dudes, man. They always like that. And I said, no, they're not. I never had a problem with those guys, man. They just want to go to the day room and do their thing. And he looks at me. Hey, Officer Friendly. Hey, we done our job for the day. And I looked at that guy, squared up to him. Don't you ever fucking say that to me again. And at this point, the inmates that are the closest to us, they're watching what's going on. They couldn't hear what we're saying because the voices were pretty quiet. And I said, don't you ever fucking say that to me again. We're done. And I walked off and I started doing security rounds. We only had about an hour left on shift, but at that point, we weren't moving inmates anymore. And the guy had pretty much died to me from there. Came time for shift end. The relief officers came in. Man, he was out that door before we had even done a proper relief. Just trash. And that was our Thursday. I remember that. That was our third day on shift. On our Friday shift, I was assigned to another pod. I don't remember exactly which one. It was just a normal day. We had our 4 days off. Coming back in on Monday, me and another officer, we got assigned Charlie pod. I say not actual Monday of the week, our Monday, our first day on shift. I was assigned Charlie pod with another officer, come in, do our things, do the checks. And as I'm going down, I'm banging on the door. Say, you want shower, you want rec? I come to the first cell. Hey, you want shower, you want rec? It was a skinny dude. First one I talk about, psych patient. Hey, fuck you, man. All right, that's a nope. Go on to the next one. Before I could even tap on the door, dude's at the door. Hey, what's up, fucking lying Carter? Hey, you gonna fucking lie to me again today, man? That's a no for you. Moved on, and he spent the whole rest of the day just yelling, hollering, banging. Charlie pod was never the same for me because of that dude. Tried to talk to Raymond about what had happened. Raymond already knew. Inmates had already sent all kinds of kites about the shit. Me and that guy, we didn't work together anymore from that point. I'd see him in turnout room, but Raymond did his best not to put the two of us together. But the guy's still there. He was still there whenever I resigned. He may still be there. I don't know how he's making it, but that's how that goes. You know, a lot of times inmates go bad whenever you have no control of it. It just happened. I hated the situation, but there wasn't nothing I could do about it. You know, once the guy had in his mind that I was lying Carter, man, I couldn't do anything right. So I had a hit out for me in Delta Pod, and everybody in Charlie Pod from then on, they'd fight with me anytime I try to move them. It was a pretty bad situation. Okay. TDC, man. Seg. Folks, I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Hope it wasn't too terribly long. Yeah, we're approaching that mark. Try not to make these videos as long as I do, but y'all know me. When I get going, I get on a rambling. So, everyone have a good rest of your Sunday. Stay safe. Take care of yourselves. I'll see y'all in the next video. Later.